Hello there. How's it going? I wasn't necessarily expecting to go live again today, but I had kind of suggested yesterday that I might do it again. But I didn't schedule it in advance, mostly because I was kind of trying to work out the bugs in work out the problems I was having with sorry, not there weren't any problems. I was basically trying to see if I could get the Seestar pointing, one of my Seestars pointing out the window, and actually get it to track things, um, without having some big problem, like calibration loop. And the good thing is there was a crescent moon earlier today. I mean, it's a fairly new moon, a fairly young moon, and so I was able to it wanted to calibrate the compass, but I just basically forced it to point at the moon and said, okay, it's pointing at the moon. And then after that, after it got a little darker, I had it point at an NGC object to the west, and it actually was able to do it without any problems. And so it was kind of a proof of concept. But now this kind of opens up me being able to actually image things to the west. So that's where we are. And so I had started it, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work. Didn't want to start a live stream and then kind of like I needed to be next to the telescope in case I had to reset it. But I got it to work, and I mean it's rather anticlimactic in a way, but you can see it's actually been imaging for almost an hour now. I have to have the phone over here because of my phone's connected directly to the Seestar, and it's kind of like through a couple of walls away, and so the signal's a bit weak. I think it's kind of run out of. It seems to be having stacking issues now. I knew after about an hour it would probably start having issues with a house. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop it now because I think it was able to do an entire hour, which is great. So now I need to see what other targets I was going to try to go after. And I think next time, so it's going to be cloudy for a few days. That was another reason why I wanted to kind of do this tonight. But I'll probably have another live stream. It might be clear in about a week, so we'll see. Going into next weekend, it might be clear here. But then if so, then I'll have kind of a more normal stream. So yeah, you can see I stopped it, and you can't see any stars. I think it's now pointing at a building's roof. So let me go look at the list of things to the west. For some reason, I just anyway just thought of the song "Go West." I think that's too low. There was one, actually there were two things I had thought of. There was this one target that I needed to start imaging. It shows up as no object, but I was actually pointing it at an NGC object, an NGC galaxy, and the kind of like what I was doing with some of those quasars. The thing I was actually interested in is in the same field of view. So I believe one of the other things that I had wanted to do, M3, the problem was M3 is very high in the sky right after sunset, and it's going through the meridian, and so it's kind of the field is rotating massively. But I had made a note that after about 10:30, it shouldn't be as bad. So I might Let me go to my favorite Stellarium, and actually, before I forget, I need to turn on Do Not Disturb so I don't get random notifications. So I was going to look up M3. Oh, and for those who watched the previous live streams where I was complaining about Stellarium and how it was massively lagging and having some performance issues, I looked into it a little further, and it turns out I had needed to update Stellarium. It was a known issue with Mac OS builds, and they had fixed it. So it seems better, a lot better now. Okay, so I forgot to mention that. I forgot to bring that up, but I'm glad you asked. Yes, actually. About sometime this afternoon, I think, there was a 1 point. Well, actually, let me go to my phone. I can. I haven't updated it yet, but supposedly it's good. Let me. Oops. I'm still a little tired after yesterday's stream, but yeah. See, it's 1.20.1, and it was updated today, and it doesn't mention anything. It has the same release notes as the 1.20, but I looked on the one of the ZWO Seestar forums, and after that came out, some people said it fixed their problem. So I haven't installed it yet, but what I've heard is 1.20.1 is the version you need to. It might fix the issue. I might, since I'm going to have a few cloudy days here, I didn't want to update it before the live stream. I'll probably update it after the live stream, and I'll go ahead and leave a community post and maybe a comment on this video and maybe the previous one, because it first came up on that yesterday's live stream, saying whether or not it fixed the issue or not. But I'll go ahead and test it out, but maybe tomorrow, since I won't have a few days. I'll have a few days without live streaming. So supposedly 1.20.1 is okay. Supposedly, that's what some people said. Actually, I can see. Let me go look on the computer here. CWO forum. Yeah. Okay. So see in the forum it says Seestar firmware. This first showed up, and yeah, some people who were not happy. Please fix ASAP. Restarted. Same here. Blah, blah. But then yeah, new app 1.20.1 fixes the problem. Just loaded it and it's working. And yeah. So as of like 8 hours ago, or so, 8 or 9 hours ago, a new patch came out and appears to have fixed the issue. So that's good. Like I say, I haven't personally tested it out, but I will be tomorrow probably. What else? Okay, yeah. So back to Stellarium. But thank you for asking, because like that was kind of a big that was kind of a problem. Let's see. Okay, so M3 is the first thing I was going to try, I think. Oh, and it's still pretty high in the sky. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20.1. 1.20. Oh, it's not as high as I thought. Because the Seestar has an issue above um, like 85 degrees in altitude above the horizon, and M3 is 76. So I'm going to go ahead and point it at that first to begin with, and then I'm going to start looking for my next target. So let me switch to, oops, there's my, so I have the all sky camera set up in the backyard, mostly so I could see, you know, how the weather's looking. And you can see there's kind of some wispy clouds to the left. Um, some clouds that, I mean, that was the other reason why I didn't schedule a live stream. It said it would start getting cloudier later in the evening, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to get the Seestar working in the window and before the clouds came in, and that's why I didn't really schedule it in advance. So let's go to the phone and go, let's look for M3. M3. Okay. Hopefully this will work without any drama. Oh, shoot. Speaking of drama, let me check something here. Okay, it's almost due west, so that's okay. One thing because the street isn't perfectly north, south, east, west, it's kind of at an angle. I can see northwest well. I can see due west well. Southwest is getting a little iffy, but due west should be fine. But if you saw the community post that I made, let me see if I can pull this up. This was the community post I made. This is basically I had the phone out the window and took a photo of myself, and you can see the window frame here, or the window and the window frame. So it's literally sitting on the tripod, kind of partly out the window. So yeah, we'll see how it works. I mean, the other photo I took, or the other session I took earlier, it was able to, it was fine for like an hour. Like there were no issues. Now this is kind of high in the sky. I don't think there's anything blocking it, but the fact it still says identifying. Yeah. I'm not. Let's see. It's not changing its where it's pointing. So I'm going to stop it and see, and go to the live view to see if it's actually visible. Because sometimes it'll get in this cycle where it's actually I'll be right back. It might actually be pointing at the window frame. I need to see if, let me look at the, I'm going to switch to the all sky camera, and I'll be right back. Nothing like having a live show. Well, that's kind of entertaining. I'm I can't provide a visual of it, but basically what happened is um, I have the Seestar on a tripod, and if you've ever, like some tripods, there's a release where you can kind of put one of the legs out almost horizontally, and so I have one of the legs out the window, and kind of the center stalk is leaning against the window frame, and then the other two legs are inside. So the Seestar isn't completely outside; it's actually slightly on the inside of the window frame, and but enough so that enough out that you can't close the window. Uh, and the suggestion from a couple nights ago, I think, about actually kind of putting it on a board out the window, I might have to do that because right now, uh, it's actually pointing at what you see here is it's actually pointing at the ceiling. Um, it's not even it's M3 is so high in the sky, it's actually pointing inside the house now. So that is not going to be a now target. That is maybe going to be a slightly later target. So let's see what is to the west. I had made some notes yesterday. Let me look. One of them was NGC 50. D33. Oh yes, that's much lower, but I'm not sure if it's low enough. So we'll see. I may have to pick some other targets. Although there's a lot of galaxies now that are kind of lower than that, but I'm going to start with NGC NGC 5033. I think somebody, either I ran across it or somebody. Somebody. Yeah, somebody was. So it's the water bug galaxy. Now, I'm not sure if I'll actually be able to see it yet because it's still kind of high in the sky. But we'll try. Okay. So if this doesn't work, I'm looking at some other galaxies. Oh. Yeah, you're welcome, Jack, about the fix. And good evening. I if you didn't see the beginning of the stream, I kind of, it was a combination of I wasn't sure if the weather would cooperate, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to actually get the Seestar, my one Seestar, kind of working out the window and actually be able to control it and be able to, more importantly, get it to kind of properly track things, because I knew I wouldn't be able to calibrate it correctly since it's kind of partly in the house. But I was able to get it to track, and I did a 1 hour session that I stopped just as the stream was starting. But now I'm noticing a problem, or well, I noticed it on the previous target, that the problem is things that are too high to the west. Since the telescope isn't out the window, it's kind of partly in. It's actually pointing inside the house or at the bottom of the window frame. Nice. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, that did not it's still too high in the sky. So I think I have to go for things that are maybe around 45 degrees in elevation. But the good thing is there appears to be quite a few. So I have to kind of focus in slightly, no, not necessarily as far as southwest, but kind of in between west and northwest is definitely safe. Um, I haven't kind of probed the limits of it, and I don't want to try to do it tonight. Um, although I say that, uh, maybe I'll try Bode's Galaxy. That's actually one. Yeah, I'm going to try Bode's. Yeah, so M81. Let's try that. So one thing I had, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I, um, when I first set up the telescope in the window, the crescent moon was still up, and it wanted to do compass calibration, the telescope, and I didn't want to do that. I mean, I couldn't really easily do it because of the way it was mounted, the tripod, and so let's see, it wasn't. Yes. Okay. Let me switch to phone. M99. Oh, so I was trying to do I wanted to do the calibration, and I was like, no. And it wouldn't go to the moon. So I just kind of manually, it was basically kind of what, kind of a variation of what that video I described last night was saying of kind of manually calibrating it. I basically pointed to the moon, kind of got it more or less in the frame, and I pushed the button saying it's in the frame. And then after that, the target it was looking for was kind of not too high to the northwest. And it went through I turned back on the horizontal calibration, and it went through the 3 steps, calibrated, and it was able to successfully track that one target for like an hour. So let me start this. It actually says it got M81, so we will see. That's awesome. You just got your Seestar, and last night had a good picture of M51. Yeah, it's very like it's very satisfying when you point it at certain targets. Like you start getting kind of quick feedback on it. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, you definitely get I mean, it's nice out of the telescope, but you get an even better result when you process it. I need to put out an updated processing video. The only problem I'm having that I need to work on is the kind of what I ran into a little bit yesterday, where it was imaging successfully, but the connection was so weak coming back to my phone. There we go. That it wasn't that it would take a while for it to update. And so even though it acquired a minute of data before it actually showed it to me because it was trying to transfer it, but it was slow. Um, so yeah, so that's good. So we've got, and actually I'm kind of, I'm happy that, that I was able to image M81 because for various reasons I haven't been able to image it from the backyard actually. Like it's either too low or just it's not in a good position. And so yeah, this is actually perfect. This was actually one of the ones that I was missing. Um, so that is great. And it's already like I'll be able to start um, this earlier the next time it's clear, which will probably be it's supposedly it's going to be in um, supposedly. Oh yeah, here's. I don't know if I actually put the image on screen. This was I put it in a community post. This was when I was getting it set up earlier, and it was actually working, and that was the moment where I'm like, I should probably go live in a bit once I've got it everything since I had everything situated. But yeah, the Seestar, you can see the window frame and the window, and it's just kind of partly hanging. Now, right now, the window is actually higher than in this photo, but yeah. Yeah, see, like I don't think the conditions will be that great, but then in the long range, it claims by next weekend it's going to be good. So if so, I don't know if I'll do 3 live streams in a row. That last night was kind of taxing. um, but let's see. Go back to. Wow, look. I was just looking up M99 to see where that is. And actually, wait. It's just slightly south of Southwest, so maybe I try that next because it should be high enough in the sky. Or maybe I actually go for Markarian's chain. Maybe that's what I'll do. I think I'm going to go for M86. At the risk of making things even more complicated, because of the direction, um, because of the direction and kind of where it is in the sky, the field isn't rotating much. I might actually change it to a 20-second sub. Just why not? Just to see. Yeah, that's kind of it's funny because like we seem to have similar weather. I mean, it's not surprising because like it's just a couple hundred miles north south, but east west it's similar. But yeah, here, I mean it theoretically, but usually when it starts looking like that here, like we'll get there's been a lot of times where in astrophysics will claim it's clear, but we're getting clouds off the Gulf of Mexico, I think, and or like kind of low clouds, and so it'll be completely clouded out when it's said it's going to be clear. So I don't believe that for Sunday that this will actually be that way, but it does look like Thursday through Sunday or Monday are going to be great. Yeah. So the face of Markarian's chain. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Yeah, because the eyes are up here, and so I think if I center it on M86, that'll be good. Um, the problem is M81 is kind of a bit low, so I'm tempted to kind of stop it and start and try to get the exposure going for M86. Let me see. Yeah, that's a good angle. It's so I'm gonna switch to the phone, and yeah, like it's not terrible. If it okay, it got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna stop it, and I am gonna go to M86. But this is good. I do need to make some changes. I do want to try to get the telescope out the window, um, so I can image things higher in the sky. But I think once I do that, it'll be good. This opens up a lot more options for me, because it was just such a drag. I had thought about sticking it out the window before, but I never followed through with it, I guess. Um, all right. So this should be cool. Yeah. It looks like it's actually aligning itself. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm not. This isn't a standing desk. Well, you can tell when I get up. It's actually it's like a stool, a low stool here. Um, and I was a bit sore yesterday. I mean, this morning. Like my body wasn't happy with me sitting in this stool for so long. Now it pointed it, and then it kind of repointed itself, which to me suggests it's getting something. If this doesn't track, oh, allegedly, let's see. Yeah, the one thing, since I don't have it in station mode, I have my phones directly connected to the Seestar through like a couple of walls, and at least a couple of walls. And I think there's pipes in one of the walls, so not the best signal. Is there? I see one star. I'm gonna go ahead and start imaging that. Yeah, the other one, the one last night, was in station mode, but this Seestar I've had some. Again, it might be a coincidence, but I feel like ever since that update, it's been a little weird with station mode. Like I've had to reset it a few times. Push the reset button, holding the reset button underneath makes it reset the Wi-Fi, and I've had to do it more than once. So I didn't even bother with it because it was just one more variable to deal with tonight. So I still have some things to work out, but at least, even though it's kind of a bit slow, I'm getting something. Yeah, yeah. Jack G asked about that earlier. Um, it was 1.20. There's a 1.20.1 that came out like 8 hours ago. I haven't updated it yet, mostly because I didn't want to risk it if I was going to go ahead and go live tonight. But I'll probably update it either after the stream or tomorrow morning, just to see what happens, since it's going to be cloudy for a few days. That's interesting. Kind of like the Wi-Fi issue. I think was more of an issue with iOS, not Android. Although I do remember another issue where it was the other way around, where there was like it would try to update the firmware, but it was failing, but it was only on Android. So, I mean, this was like maybe a couple months ago. I feel like is it actually? Okay, yeah, okay, good. Like I can start seeing, um, now the only problem, the only problem with, with, pointing west is I've got, um, uh, more light pollution that direction. Because there's literally a group of skyscrapers to like 2 miles to the west of me. But we'll see. We'll see. So far, I mean, I can tell there's stuff. I mean, you can see at least the galaxy cores. So yeah, I think maybe that was the issue. But I remember some people talking about having issues with it, and I was like, I haven't had any problems. And I think it was an issue going into a weekend. But there wasn't a holiday afterwards, so at least there was that. Yeah, so that's working. Yeah, that always that was a good idea. Just skip it, especially yeah if you're not really um, using the telescope for a few days. Um, yeah. Does I've done this a few times. I mean, and I've only done it because the light pollution here is terrible. There's been a few times where they always say like certain objects you're not you don't get much, you get little or no advantage of using the light pollution filter. Um, so like emission nebula, yes, but like galaxies, no. Um, but there have been a few times where I've kind of played around with it just to see if it actually did make a difference. Probably not, but and it just makes everything dimmer, which especially in fields like this where there isn't much there. Not much bright things there. It kind of um, it struggles a bit more. Um, but yeah, and if you're watching this, please feel free to like the video. That always helps. And it helps if you want to join future live streams. It helps YouTube suggest it. But yeah, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Yeah, so I have the telescope in the window, and we don't have curtains. We have shutters in this room. And so I have kind of the shutter closed over the window, the open window, but not touching the telescope, just a bit. Um, Not touching at all, but just closed a bit. Mostly because I'm trying to, like I alluded to yesterday, I don't want uh, bugs or bats coming in the house, which is another reason why I want to come up with a better way of kind of putting it just outside the window, and then I can close the window enough where I know nothing of any consequences going to get in. Um, yeah. So, what else? I need to look at my notes and see what else I might want to get. Actually, maybe I'll just look at Stellarium. Since I updated it earlier today, that seems to have greatly improved the issues I was having with performance. Yeah. I mean, it's not really a problem, but it's almost like there's like where to point the telescope. There's so many targets here. Um, I had turned off kind of atmospheric dimming mode, which is why you can see like everything. So that's probably not a realistic thing. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing where I was thinking, I had seen some people talking about that with like M42 even, but and I guess part of me was thinking, well, galaxies do have, I mean, most of the light is uh, is coming from stars, but then there are like emission nebula and stuff. So, um, and yeah, this area is very target rich. So I'm very pleased that I actually have a reasonable shot of getting stuff. I mean, I think one of the other reasons why I didn't do it is I was worried, not worried, but um, I wasn't sure about vibration, and I did see that I had it when I was viewing the moon. Uh, I was sitting on a chair right near the window, and I got up, and I got up a little too vigorously, strongly. I put my feet down too hard, and I saw it shake quite a bit in the telescope. So the kind of what I have set up there is kind of a little janky, but um, yeah, I'll make it more stable at some point. I'm gonna just look over here for a sec at all these targets. Like there's so much. Yeah, I mean sometimes it's kind of I like turning on this the digital sky survey um, images because I feel like it gives me a better idea of what not what it's going to look like through the Seestar, but at least what it would be possible with that field of view. So if it's a real tiny thing, I might skip it. Smoking gun. So, Virgo A smoking gun. Yeah, I'm tempted to. Oh, this is the one that had the supernova. Actually, that reminds me. I forget. I was so excited by being able to take photos to the west. I forgot my other thing. Yeah, it's yeah, that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to stop last night. Because I knew the conditions were really good, and that it wasn't necessarily going to be that way for a bit. Um, let's see, super. Um, okay, sorry. All right, 3524. Oh, that one's right at the horizon. Maybe I'll try that again. Basically, I'm looking at this list here of current brightest supernovas, and oh, that's great. Yeah, unfortunately, I think those are kind of a little too low, so I'm not gonna bother with those. Like one of these supernova galaxies is very low. I mean, like too low in the sky, and then the other one, it's kind of a compact object, so I'm not gonna do that tonight. Oh yeah, dumbbell nebula. Yeah, and I still need to process. I got I didn't copy all the data off the telescope until today, um, but yeah, I need to still process them. I forgot. Yeah, M27. Um, so let's see what next. Just trying to get an idea of what. So I don't. I'm trying to figure out what next. Probably gonna let this go. It's still. I mean, it's still going. It's got 10.5 minutes of data. The Lost Galaxy of Copeland. And there's two lost galaxies. Interesting. might be. I don't think I'm going to go look for... I'm not going to find the lost galaxies. I'm going to move this a little over here since I'm facing this way. There's just so many targets. Again, the name's Evil Eye. That one. That one might be okay. I think I did get some imaging of that when I was to the east, when it was kind of more on the other side of the house. That's crazy. Look at all these galaxies in the Coma cluster. But they're all really small. Yeah, because it's like 300 million light years away, one of the ones I picked. And I wouldn't be surprised if the others are that far away. Yeah, 335 million light years, 400 million light years. So yeah, kind of cool, but very far. Yeah, I think with like a higher resolution camera that this could be cool. You know, maybe I think I'm going to try the whale and the crowbar because I think I got a little bit of, yeah, Caldwell 32 NGC. Yeah, I think I'm going to try. Yeah, hopefully it's not too high in the sky, but I want to try these because I had gotten a little bit of imaging of them, but I was having problems with field rotation. It was on the east side of the house and haven't been able to revisit them. I'm just making a note. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think a person could get a good image, but I think it would. I mean, obviously not as good as Hubble, but it would take definitely higher resolution and yeah, a lot higher resolution. This Markarian's chain, I think, might be something where I might have to just image it a lot. Like if it ends up being clear next week, but see, then that's the problem. Next week, the moon will just be that much more full, which is annoying. I mean, it'll be like a quarter moon. Oh well. Again, it's like clouds or moon. Pick one. It's basically basically that's been my choices for most of the spring. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try this whale and crowbar, because why not? Croc's eye. Yeah, I promise some of these are like so small. Yeah. 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 Well, we'll see. Hopefully. Oh, yeah, Northwest is starting to push it. I mean, I still have to figure out. Oh, yeah, 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 because it's like first quarter. Um, it's first quarter, so yeah, unfortunately, um, it'll be higher in the sky when a lot of these targets are up. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I might, since I now have an option of like imaging towards the west, maybe, if the moon's kind of blocked, I'll do kind of the east imaging, kind of mix it up, hanging the telescope out the window. Yeah, maybe I'll just stick with things in kind of in this area, since since the elevation's good and there's a bunch of targets here. This is the kind of thing where I want to take my Seestar some dark sky and then have mosaic mode and just try to image a lot of this area, maybe with both of the Seestars going at once. Maybe I'll do M90 next. Although I said I was going to do whale and crowbar. Yeah, actually, I haven't been paying attention. I mean, yeah, the conditions definitely aren't as good. Let me switch over to the yep, funny enough you mentioned it, it just failed on a stack on a frame. So let's see what it does. Yeah. I wonder like if people who don't have, well, actually you Wiley Sight or anybody else, like you've used the Seestar in darker skies. Do you see those kind of rejection rates out there? Or is that more of a light pollution problem? Because unfortunately, I haven't been able to test out, or I haven't used my Seestar outside of the city. Yeah, I'm, I'm, I guess that was kind of my suspicion. Um, but yeah, it's, it's frustrating at times when it's rejecting so much. And I wonder if it's the same kind of issue that, if it's the same kind of issue that, yeah, it must be. It's the same kind of issue you get with Cyril where it doesn't have enough stars. And oh, actually, that's what I ended up doing once because I had this a bunch of photos. It actually might have been Markarian's chain, and it wasn't. It was just failing, like almost all of them. Uh, and I was like, why is it failing? Like, there's plenty of bright things in the frame. And then I realized, oh, but the most of the bright things in a lot of the bright things in the frame are stars. And so I forget what setting I changed. I mean, uh, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but basically, I think it's like the ratio of like like the Seestar script filters out um, oblong stars. It rejects them more aggressively. Um, but I went the other direction and I said, because it wasn't oblong stars, it was galaxies, and it was like refusing to stack, or it wasn't able to uh, register the frames. And so I'm like, you know what? Like if it's got a 3-to-1 ratio, it's still a star, and it ended up stacking successfully. Then that was kind of funny. But I imagine like in a dark sky, you wouldn't have that because you'd probably have a lot better signal on every frame, on every subframe. But it was kind of funny. Like it's like, wait, I see every subframe. There's something in every one of them. It might have been this. It might have been this field of view that it was. It was. So what I was getting at is, if the Seestar is rejecting a lot of things, I wonder if they'll end up exposing kind of a knob, a dial or something, kind of like how you can do it in Serial, where you can say, no, really, or maybe just like a, you know, a strict versus, you know, loose match on the stars when it's live, when it's stacking it, so it gets so it kind of attempts to stack it with fewer uh, stars, or is able to kind of take into account that they're galaxies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In 10 minutes. Yeah, um, I've seen that from some other people who live in, yeah, Bortle 3, 4, and they'll post their photos, and I mean, or they'll just post it already, you know, out of telescope, and so it tells you how long the exposure was, and I'm like, you know, that was like 10 minutes. Uh, you got that in 10 minutes, and it took me like half an hour to get the same thing, and I'm like, yeah, um, Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, or at least keep the frames. Oh, I was rummaging around in one of the forums, and it was from a post from Kai of Seestar, or uh, where he was asking. Well, he pointed out like you don't need the JPEG or the JPEGs or the thumbnails on all the subframes. Like that's kind of pointless. But he also was saying, could you just keep all the subframes and then we can process them? Because that would be ideal, you know, like, okay, you discard them, but just save them. So, because yeah, it might be something where, like I ran into with Cyril, with the data that did come from the Seestar, where I had to make some adjustments to get it to register correctly. Um, yeah. Yeah, I like living in the city, but when I'm trying to do astronomy, it's frustrating. Um, let me. I actually had this bag of chips that I was eating. I need to. I'm. I'm a. I need to eat one. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Usually, what I do is I well, it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes what I do is I just do it from the command line. I only copy the fit files over. Um, or I'll go into kind of the file manager and just sort by file type and just copy the fit files that way. Yeah, I mean the subframe JPEGs are kind of, I've never used them. They're a complete waste. Waste of I mean they don't use as much space as the fit files, but it's just there's no point. I'm looking over at Stellarium to see what else I might want to try out. I think I might stop this at half an hour. I mean, the good thing is you can tell these are galaxies. So they're faint. But I think if I kind of, maybe in a few days when it's clear again, I do over a few more nights, I could get a few more hours of data maybe. At least I have the option. So yeah, it depends. If it starts failing a lot on the stacking, I might just stop at sooner. But I want to try to get to just around a round number of 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm debating. Do I want M90 or do I go with the whale and crowbar, which is a very strange combination. But it's based on the shape, not. It's just they're close to each other. Yeah, it's progressing, so I'll leave it until like 5 more minutes. So what else? What else did we? What else happened today? Trying to think. I mean, I had it was less than 24 hours that I had my last live stream, so uh, not that much has elapsed or transpired. Although that it's kind of an ironic or kind of a funny thing to look at night, but I'm looking at the Solar Dynamic Observatory to see what's going on with the sun. Yeah, that very active solar spot, it wasn't as active. It was still active, but not as active when it came back onto the sun. I mean, when it came back towards where we could see it on Earth, and it's now about to rotate off again. Yeah, no, I mean the processing folder, I do get rid of that because it ends up it's huge. Oh wow. Hubble is limping along with only 2 functional gyroscopes remaining, both over 90,000 hours of use. Yeah, I mean I remember when they launched that on the space shuttle back in the, was it 90s, 80s? It was it was a long time ago. Um, yeah. Well, hopefully it'll last a bit longer because it's still producing some good stuff. Wow. 90s. Okay. I mean, I remember it. It's just it after a certain point it kind of starts blurring. Um, so that solar flare or that sunspot group, uh, what was it? It was it would have been overnight or yesterday evening. Um, it launched a big yeah, that's crazy. That's impressive. And it caused a shortwave radio blackout. But yeah, so that sunspot group that produced all those flares, I mean all the aurora has rotated all the way around, and it's still uh, fairly active. Not as active, but still pretty active. I always think this is a cool view where it's kind of yeah blocks the sun with the disk, so you can see the corona and you can just see the mass. Yeah, that's just cool. Oh, that's cool. GE Aerospace is an intern on the Hubble project. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, let me see. Yeah, it doesn't look. Let me. There's a. Um, yeah, it doesn't look like it. I mean, because it wasn't as strong, and maybe it wasn't pointed at Earth, so it doesn't look like it's going to be very significant. I mean, granted, these are short-term forecasts. But yeah, it doesn't look like there'll be anything. I mean, definitely nothing like what happened a month ago. That's too bad. Um, yeah, supposedly some people in the Houston area were able to see it, but I looked outside around 10 p.m. that evening, and it was pretty cloudy here. So maybe, I mean, I'm closer to like Galveston Bay, so maybe people who were further inland uh, were able to see it, but I wasn't, unfortunately. Which of course makes it even better when you see everybody. It seems like everybody else is posting photos of aurora. And it's like, oh, lovely. Thank you for reminding me. um, yeah. So about I'm up to 29 minutes. I mean, I might just stop it. I mean, 30 minutes is just rather arbitrary. Oh, that's cool. Well, at least they got photos of it. I mean, it's pretty neat. I'm going to switch over to the phone. So yeah, we're everybody. Yeah, that's that's cool. Um, let's see. Okay. Um, yeah, one more frame, or maybe this is the last frame. It'll be 30 minutes even. And 30 minutes. Okay. So next, what was I going to do? I was going to do maybe M90. Was M90 what I wanted to do? I'm checking the elevation first to see which one is better of M90 or the whale and crowbar. Um, 48 degrees versus 4631. Whale and crowbar is higher, so I'm gonna do M90 for the next. No, oh, dang it, cancel. That's not good. Anyway, maybe I'll go ahead and, because it got the autofocus all out of whack. Sometimes I end up hitting the autofocus when I didn't mean to. What, the autofocus? Yeah. And the problem is this area doesn't have many bright stars. I'm trying to remember what it was. Actually, I know what I can do. I actually I went back on the live stream and looked at what it was set to. So yeah, it wasn't 1800. I think it was like 1728. Oops. Hopefully that's, and that makes it even more frustrating when it's in an area of the sky where there's no bright stars. Wait, why did it overshoot? It's you can see how slow it is updating. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I looked at the live stream and let me double check what the value. Yeah, and supposedly it was 1728. So, unfortunately, both of my Seestars have slightly different values. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So NGC. Oh, actually, what I need to do. I wonder. So what are? Hold on. NGC. I'm wondering if I'm going to start having issues with the weather. Oh no, I was going to go look at M90. Well, let's try. Yeah, I have two Seestars, and yeah, they have different focus numbers. Like the other one is in the 1500s, and this one's in the 1700s for some reason. Okay, there's a bright enough star there, so I'm gonna actually try focusing just in case. Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird cuz like, and this was actually this is my original Seestar, like the one that showed up. Well, I ordered them about the same time, but that's a long story. But basically, yeah, that was the first one that showed up, and it's usually around 1700, whereas my other one is definitely like in the 1500s. So I think that's interesting. Is it just? I think it's just delayed the screen update. Yeah, see, it's like 1732. It's very strange. So what's on the slate? So I was able to rig up one of my Seestars in a window facing west, which has always been kind of my, like I mean, so that's another advantage of the Seestar. I would not be able to do that with my other telescope. It wouldn't, or a couple of my telescopes, they would not fit in that window. Anyway, so I have it pointing west, and I've been trying to pick up some targets that I wasn't able to properly image a few weeks ago, a few months ago, like Markarian's chain and Yeah, and so now I'm trying M90. Yeah, I really should probably write down the default focus of the two Seestars because I always forget the exact number, but they're different, which is very yeah. It's I and like I say, that was the first Seestar I got. It showed up a few weeks before the other one, and but yeah, it's got a totally different focus number. It's very strange. And I would yeah, because they would say, make note of the number, and I'm like, yeah, that I can't use the one number on the other because it would just be totally wrong. And so right now I'm doing M90, and then I'm going to move on to uh, NGC 4631, which is the Whale Galaxy, and the Crowbar Galaxy, which are like if you center it on the Whale Galaxy, the crowbar's out of frame, but you can center it. You can kind of split the difference and get both in the field of view, which I'm good at, which I did. But at the time, I think it was like close to the meridian, and like when I had a clear night, an opportunity to get those, and so I wasn't able to get much. So I'm kind of revisiting it now. The downside, which I mentioned before, of me pointing west is I'm pointing towards a collection of skyscrapers a couple miles away. So there's going to be definitely more intense light pollution that direction and more intense gradient, which is kind of a drag. Yeah. Yeah, with the Bode's Galaxy. Although I think the problem is it depends on the rotation. Yeah, see, because like if you look, like right now, why is it not? I hate it when that happens. Hold on. Let me see. Sometimes the my switcher, the thing I use for switching, ends up kind of in a weird state. Okay. Hold on. I'm just trying to. Okay. So like right now, Bode's Galaxy and the Cigar Galaxy. Yeah. The problem is they're like the field's rotated. So I mean, like they're kind of they both are they're circumpolar, I think. Um, at least from some latitudes, and so yeah, sometimes you can get both of them in the same field of view with the um yeah, like 5 hours from now they'd be in a better alignment for the Seestar, or 4 hours, but right now unfortunately they're like east, side by side. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, cuz like a few months different, and it was a different time of day, and so you were able to, yeah. Unfortunately right now they're kind of, I mean, you know, talking about possible things that ZWO could do with the Seestar, it would be nice if they had some yeah, if they added a field rotator, or a sensor, like if they rotated the sensor, then really you could fix that. You could just, have it you know, if you could rotate at 90 degrees, then, boom, problem fixed. um but um, yeah. Anyway, so I just noticed something. I have some things off camera that I can see. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I was running across, and I think I had seen these before. Anyway, sorry, I'm distracted. I'm backtracking. I'm a little concerned about how much I'll be able to proceed. Because right now I'm watching it. Is it actually making progress on M90? Yeah, it's making progress. But I think my seeing is getting even worse now. Because of switcher isn't switching. Um, my I had been kind of looking over and I saw the view of the all sky camera. There's definitely some high clouds that have come in, and that's really probably messing up with the subframes. Um, that's kind of annoying. But it's still increasing. I mean the number is going up, but it's probably just really bad signal to noise. Because supposedly sorry, it's our favorite friend, our favorite problem. I wasn't paying enough attention on the Seestar, and I was like, I don't see the galaxy, like I don't see M90, and so I turned on marking, and I'm like, oh, it's to the right. Well, that doesn't help, so I'm stopping this. I thought it was just the haze, but no, it wasn't even in the field of view. That's great. Spectacular. So let's fix that. Yeah, I need to fix the hopefully I'm not moving it too far out of the field of view. Let's try this. Is that it? Okay. Restart. Yeah, because otherwise it'll try to stack with something that's like way offset, and it'll probably just start failing every subframe. Okay. Anyway. Oh. Hmm. Yeah, now it's below the horizon. Right. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's neat. So let's see what this comes up with. Okay. I mean, it's not ideally situated. I have a feeling that the signal noise on this is going to be bad just because it's kind of a more maybe diffuse object. So I might not let this go too long before moving on to the whale and the crowbar. So Wiley site. What are you imaging now, or are you imaging? Are you still imaging those Messier? Oh, M100. That's cool. Blow dryer, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of in the general vicinity. Last of the Virgo galaxies. That's cool. M. What was that? Yeah, I'll do the whale in the. I'll do the whale in the crowbar later. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so one thing uh so I'd seen these before, but I was looking around, kind of on the forums again. I guess I'd been looking because of that bug, and that kind of came out on Friday and was fixed today. Um, I was kind of I ran across a few threads where people were talking about a possible next generation Seestar, and I some of it seemed like speculation, and then some of it seemed um, a little like the people might have information, maybe not on products that are necessarily going to ship, but that they're at least testing. And I mean, I'm sure some people on the stream have seen this, but I saw like it was a Seestar Pro was one of the rumors. Uh, and the thing I saw where they said it would be actually slightly wider field and a higher resolution sensor, or like a better sensor, which would kind of make sense because then they wouldn't have to drastically change the form factor of it, because that's definitely one of the advantages. But if instead of a 2 megapixel it had like an 8 megapixel, that would be cool. And especially if the field of view was just a bit bigger, but it had a much higher resolution, then you could your pixels per arc second or minute or whatever would be better. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure how much of it was. There were one or two things that seemed like a little um, like more than speculation, we'll say. And then of course people were talking about bigger form factors, or bigger scopes, like a uh, S80 or S75 or something like that. That could be interesting too. But they were kind of indicating it would happen later this year. Um, so we shall see. I don't know. I wonder. Yeah. I just had a thought. I wonder if anybody's tried to modify the hardware more, like try to. I mean, like people jailbroke earlier firmwares, and I wonder if people have tried to do any hardware mods. I mean, like deeper mods, like sensor or something. And I guess the other thing, I don't know, I don't think they mentioned it, but like if there was a Seestar that was about the same, what do you call it? It's the same focal length, but say had better optics, like, or a better light pollution filter, like maybe like narrower. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. It'll be interesting to see. Um, I mean, the last, yeah, yeah, we'll see. So this is making some progress. So I'm not completely giving up on that. Oh, and it's, wait, what? Holy moly. Wow. No, I'm wowing because the the uh the screen, anyway, never mind. But yeah, so it's getting some of M90. You can see a little bit of IC3 3583. So I'll let this go for a little bit. I think I might want to eat another chip. But that's the problem. Like, I started eating before the live stream. I grabbed this bag of chips like 5 minutes before I went live, and I tried to eat as many of them as I could, but without making a huge mess. But there's still quite a few, so I'm gonna eat a couple chips. And I'm gonna try to do it away from the microphone so it's not like either obnoxiously loud or like ASMR. Yeah, maybe later in the summer or in early fall I'll get a chance to get out to like West Texas or something. Cuz yeah. On the other hand, I need to remind myself that, when I was younger, I'd spend hours outside looking through an eyepiece, sweating, getting bitten by mosquitoes, and I'm sitting inside in air conditioning while the telescope's doing all the work. So I guess from that point of view, and plus it's imaging stuff that I wouldn't have been able to see through an eyepiece, at least with the size scope I had. So always have to keep things in perspective. So I was thinking about this on Thursday night. The live stream was a bit over 4 hours. No, it was like 3.5, a little over 3.5 hours. And last night was almost 6.5 hours. So I was like, I'm not even going 3.5 hours tonight. I mean, I didn't start until late, and I'm awake, but I just don't want to. And plus, the conditions really aren't awesome. Looking back at yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as it was before, but still there's a lot of wispy clouds. Now, granted, that's looking straight up, so I don't know what it's looking like to the west, but I'm sure it's not ideal. Let me see if I'm sorry, hopefully I don't break the stream when I do something. Which is always what you want to hear people say. Well, hopefully this doesn't break the stream. Let me see. I'm trying to get back my my ability to switch. Oh, that's not it. Maybe it's this. Again, hopefully this doesn't. Sorry. I'm almost done with this. Just trying to get my. Okay. Will this work? Hey, it's back. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is making progress, so that's good. What else? Yeah, so I'll say it now. I'm not gonna go any later than like 1 a.m., which is another half hour away. Just because I need to. I mean, the conditions really don't warrant staying up super late. Plus, if it's to be believed, oh, okay, sorry. For some reason, like, I just reloaded the chat because, like, I hadn't seen any messages. Yeah, there's more on the horizon. Better planetary viewing, that would be cool. Yeah, longer focal lengths for planetary. Your wife likes camping and loves sitting looking up at dark starry skies. No, that's helpful. That's helpful. Okay, 21 minutes. Well, that's about when I'm planning on finishing up. I may try to point at another target though, because this is yeah. I mean, it's a little lower in the sky, so I am going to try NGC 4631. And yeah, I'm next week it's supposedly going to be clear here, and it looks like, well, it's too early to tell how the seeing is going to be, so hopefully the seeing, it would be nice if it was as good as it was last night, but I won't hold my breath. So after it gets to NGC 4631, I'm going to have to manually adjust it because I also want to get the crowbar in. And these are targets that I've already captured some data from. Like, I just want to get more data. You know, the one where I remember that from was back in the was it 90s, early to the TV show Friends. There was a episode where, yeah, that came up supposedly. Okay. So if this works, I'm just gonna collect hopefully 25 minutes of this and then call it a night. I'm hoping because not only is the west not only is it hanging the telescope in my window, it's also facing the street, so I'm hoping none of the neighbors I'm half expecting to get a text from them tomorrow like, were you spying on somebody? um, or what was that contraption hanging out your window? Yeah, maybe I'll need to skin it, skin my Seestar so it kind of camouflages it, because it's the house is lighter color, so need to camouflage it so it blends in. Okay, good. So those are both in the frame, which is what I was trying to do. Yeah. So going back to astrospheric. Yeah. I mean, even if it ends up being good, well, like this is claiming that, right around sunset it'll be okay. I mean, not transparency or seeing, but like supposedly not much cloud cover, but then it deteriorates. And then like at 1 in the morning, but the seeing will be excellent. But um, I don't necessarily buy that. And I can't stay up that late going into Monday. So realistically, I'm kind of hoping that this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is another good stretch of good weather. But before that, so that'll give me a few days to process what I took. Oh yeah, like one thing I did. Oh yeah, this is turning out like you can tell. You can tell the galaxy, the whale there, and the crowbar are starting to. So yeah, maybe 25 minutes will get some result. What was it? That wasn't. I just realized that wasn't on screen, but that's okay. So one thing I tonight or today when I was trying to set up the telescope and calibrate it, I did manage to get some photos of the moon, the crescent. But what was interesting is it was still kind of the moon. I mean, it was still twilight, and so the exposure was a little kind of. It ended up metering off of the dark part of the moon, and so that was actually the default exposure. I had to kind of adjust it to get the lit side, but still kind of cool. Like can really see the kind of the Maria on the moon. So that's cool. That was that. But yeah, so things I need to do. I need to see if I want to process what I took, but I also need to figure out if I can come up with a better mount for the telescope to the west. If I can get both telescopes back on the network at the same time, and maybe get that script going. Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that, and I also shot some video of it, which is still on the telescope. But I was actually thinking, I'm like, oh, this looks really nice. I could composite these together and get a nice result. So that might be something else I end up playing around with this week, at least through Thursday when it might be clear. So we'll see. But I definitely want to try to that automation before my next live stream, or at least try to get both the telescopes on the network at the same time. And ideally then I could have one east, one west, and then kind of at least cover more of the sky. So yeah, I'm gonna have some water. Anytime the time doesn't update for a bit, I start getting concerned that it's stalled. But then I just saw it go up to, yeah, 320 now. Um, but yeah, so like this one's, you can definitely see it's a galaxy, and you can definitely see that the crowbar is it's starting to show something. Definitely based on what I'm seeing here from 3 minutes, I am going to have to get a lot more data for those two. Um, so I am hopeful that Thursday, Friday, Saturday are clear. Um, and really the automation, yeah. I mean, ideally, it would be nice if I could do what a lot of people do who have, other rigs and not bad kind of restricted skies where they just kind of set up a list of things for it to image over the course of the night and just let it go. Um, that would be ideal. That would be nice. Especially for nights like last night where I could have probably kept going if I mean, the conditions were still good, and it's just I couldn't go any longer. um, so yeah, we'll see. One other thing I've been wanting to try to mess around with. Um, oh, sorry, I need to kind of thinking of something else. The yeah, yeah, the dithering. Yeah, maybe that's it. Because that's every few frames. Um, what was I gonna look up? Um, what was it? Um, sorry, I'm basically yeah. Sorry, I was it, so they have those let me find this, and then I'll explain what my what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, so I complain about the conditions, and there's people who like you can rent space, or you can rent time on telescopes that are kind of remote somewhere. Like they could be in southern hemisphere, or Spain, or like Canary Islands or something. And so there's kind of like that model where you don't own the scope, but you're kind of renting time on other scopes. And then there's people who rent uh, a pad at kind of a telescope hosting company. And I I've run across a few of them. It's definitely not something I have budget for, but basically, like there was one in New Mexico, and I know there's like, I mean, there's several of them, and I know like I've seen one several people talk about in Utah, and then there's this one. I think it's the new one of the new ones, the Starfront Observatories, and I had gone to the web page, and I guess I hadn't read it thoroughly, or I hadn't read it at all. And someone mentioned, I was on a live stream, someone mentioned that it's Bortle 1 and it's in Texas. And I'm like, okay, like where in Texas? And it was Rockford, Texas. It's the Starfront Observatory's $200 a month to rent. I mean, which isn't a terrible price, but again, it's not in my at this point. I think I would want to have more gear. um but like, yeah, I think it was in Rockford, Texas. Or was it, no, not Rockport. Rockwood, Texas. So it's so yeah, it's kind of, it's right here, supposedly Bortle 1, which I guess I wasn't but yeah, kind of to the east of San Angelo. And like here's Abilene, there's Austin, DFW, San Antonio. So it's kind of in this. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Eastland, Cisco. I've been through Cisco. Cisco, if I'm remembering correctly, is the town that Conrad Hilton had his first hotel. I think. I think that's what it. I mean, this is way off. Oh yeah, yeah. Conrad Hilton started his first hotel in Cisco. So random piece of information, but yeah, Rockwood. I guess. Yeah. So supposedly Bortle 1, or at least a good Bortle, a dark Bortle 2 maybe. But that was kind of cool. At least a little bit, definitely close for, not too far for people in Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio. But that was, let's go back to the phone. I feel like it's making slow progress, but it is slow. We're gonna jump back to another view. Okay, that was like a jet trail. I was just curious what was on the sky camera. I need to come up with a scene with the sky camera, the phone, and me at the same time, because then I wouldn't have to bounce back and forth. I could just have all three up at the same time. Is this making any substantial progress? I mean, I'll let it run till 1 and then I'll shut it down. But yeah, Rockwood, Texas. Yep. Anyway, so I don't suppose anybody else imaging tonight. I mean, last night was such a good night here. Hopefully we'll have some more like that. Oh, 30 minutes. So you're about done then. Yeah, I'm probably about done too. Mostly because, yeah, I mean, some of this was, at least for me, was kind of an experiment of could I actually live stream this facing west? Uh, and it's been stable, like physically stable. The telescope hasn't fallen out the window, vibration hasn't been an issue. Um, so that was a win, and I just need to work out the specifics on. I don't know if I brought this on screen. Finally hit 30 minutes on M100. Um, I have to work out a few things, but kind of the more complicated, or the the biggest issue is, could I even pull it off of having it in the window and actually um, not get in a calibration loop and actually be able to, without too much pain, um, start imaging. But yeah, so I think next time I do a live observing stream, I'll probably do it at 9:30. I mean, it'll be later this upcoming week at the earliest, just because I don't want to. Yeah, I think any earlier, like I did one at 9:15, and that was kind of pushing it because I didn't really have enough time to kind of set up the telescope, and like it hadn't gotten dark enough to really make sure it was it that it didn't need to be calibrated or something. So um actually, that's a really good idea. I'm familiar with those brackets. Yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to see. I'll have to look around for that because I'm definitely that's definitely something uh that could be worth looking into. And the good thing is uh even if, I mean, it would destroy the telescope, but if the telescope fell, it would fall in the garden in the front of the house, so at least it wouldn't drop on like a sidewalk or something. Um, yeah, I'll have to. Oh, um, this is interesting. They just attached it to a railing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, I had thought about that. Just have kind of a short mount. I mean, not have like a tripod, but um, yeah, this is interesting. I mean, this is something else, but where they just attached it to a railing. That's pretty good. Um, yeah, I'll have to look into that because I'm intrigued. Maybe I'll look at it after the live stream's over, because I don't, like last night I ended at 5. I the stream ended at 4, but I didn't fall asleep till like 5 in the morning because I had to go downstairs. I had to because the all sky camera isn't sealed. I shut down the all sky camera, shut down the Seestar, brought it all in, and yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I do think the AC unit um, brackets would be would probably work. Um, looking at Home Depot. Of course, if I was handy with, well, I could always build something out of wood. I was going to say if I was handy with metalworking, I could do it. Yeah, here's one for yeah, just like a bracket, and have it kind of against the house, and then have the Seestar out on here. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to look at that some more. And who knows, I might have some scrap stuff that might work. Yeah, actually even what do you call it? Like I don't know if I have any, but like these little metal kind of adjustable brackets for mounting small solar panels on, like really small ones. I'm not talking about like I'm talking about like 50 watt panels. I'm trying to remember if I have anything like that around the house, because something like that could, if it's flipped around and then attached to the windowsill, and then the kind of the propped part is stuck against the house. Although the AC unit shelf, and those would definitely, they wouldn't have a problem with the weight. Yeah, and that one, it's a proper shelf. Could like drill a hole in it and yeah, it's although that's a real narrow one. That's weird. Oh, I guess maybe yeah. But that would work. It goes it's like 19 inches, so it would get it a foot out past the window. Yeah, exactly. They're temporary. And so like they're perfect. It's like yeah, perfect um it's made for keeping something outside a window, and yeah, in places where you might have a window AC unit and it's seasonal, like you just put it out for the summer, or if you move. Um, yeah, that's cool. I like that idea. I might have to go pick up something from Home Depot. That's funny. Like it's like explain to your spouse. It's like, oh, I'm going to Home Depot. So for something for the house, no, something for the telescope. Um, yeah. Oh, it's 1 a.m. It's still chugging away. But see, this is why I wanted to get the crowbar, the whale and crowbar, because you can tell that Galaxy has a bit of a kink in it. Like it it's like a crowbar. It's um like it's really faint in this image, but if you look at, you know, it's definitely a it's got a bend to it. And then the whale Galaxy, like that's the shape. It's a very kind of narrow, like a blue whale or something. But yeah, I guess that's why what caught my eye a few weeks ago when I was looking at things. I mean, the name was one thing, but then oh, it's also known as it's another one of those ones that goes by several names. So it's the fishhook Galaxy, or the crowbar Galaxy, or the hockey stick Galaxy, the hook, the hummingbird. All right, another one of those like four name galaxies. But yeah, like I thought that was kind of cool, especially, you know, when you most interacting or disrupted galaxies are much fainter or smaller. So the fact this one, I mean, it's not huge in the frame, but it's also, it's not, it's you still have some detail there. So I definitely want to try to get a lot more data from this. And you can see like it's really faint, but like the satellite of that one galaxy is to the right of it, of the whale. But yeah, so actually I might go ahead and end the stream soon, and then I might just keep the thing going for a little bit longer because the conditions aren't terrible right now. Like, although, I thought more clouds would roll in, but there's some intermittent clouds, but nothing too drastic yet. Anyway, so Wiley, are you done for the night then? You got your 30 minutes of M100? Yeah, I sitting in this chair for 10 hours over the last couple days has not done my body any favors. I did say something, I think it was yesterday, about like having a recliner. I need a recliner. A lazy boy. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'm not copying off the data. I usually don't do it till the next day, but I live dangerously. But yeah, I think that's it. I appreciate people joining. Yeah, I appreciate the people joining, and if you didn't see it at the beginning and you're just now and you see this part of the video, the Seestar issue appears to have been fixed in 1.20.1. But double check. I'm going to check and I'll post back on the channel. And but yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night as well. Especially after last night. And plus the conditions just don't warrant it. I mean, it would be one thing if it was spectacular. I'd keep going, but yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for tuning in, and have a great rest of the weekend. And I will see you the next time in the next video. Thanks. Bye.